Ready.
I'll put my game face on.
All right, you ready?
Welcome everybody to the Measure AA Citizens Oversight Committee. It is, what month is this?
September.
It's September 9th at 2:13. We're getting started a little bit late because we had some technical difficulties, but we're good now. I'm going to open it up with a roll call to make sure that we have quorum. So if you're here, say here. Sarah Gardner.
Here.
Jean Marie Reel.
Here.
William Becker. Not here yet. Ron Wheelhan.
Here.
Wheelhan. Horace Reeves.
Here.
Here. Ray Dyer.
He's under Michaela Schull.
Right. Do you know how to unmute? I don't know if he knows how to unmute.
Hey Ray, you have to unmute.
Sent him a request to unmute, so.
Okay, so we know he's here, but we're having technical difficulties, but I can see his physical presence, so I'm going to mark him as here. So we're missing Mr. Nolte and Mr. Becker. So let us move on. I would like to, let me turn my page. So much easier in person. I'd like to recommend to the committee that we adopt the agenda that's presented. Do I have a second to that?
Yes.
I have a second. All in favor? Just give me a little thumbs up.
Aye.
Aye. Thumbs up.
Aye.
Sarah, you good? Okay. So we will adopt the agenda as approved. This is the time where the public's welcome to make comment. And Connie, you said there is nobody to make a comment today?
No, I don't have any public comments.
Okay, then this would be the point of the meeting where the public wasn't be invited to make a comment on anything on our agenda, but seeing as no one's here, we're going to move along. At the last meeting, way back when, we all picked terms that we were going to serve for another 1 or 2 years. And the only person I have left to check on that is Jack Reeves. Would you like to commit to doing the rest of the year?
No, I'm afraid I'm not going to.
Okay.
This is too hard for me.
Okay.
And
Okay.
right now I've got the virus. And
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Sorry.
it's even getting a little bit harder.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know you've been on every committee and we're so sad to see you go, but I totally understand. Oh, thank you for attending, even though you're not feeling well. Thank you. Wow. Okay. Okay, and then I'd like to recommend to the committee that we adopt the minutes from the last meeting. Connie sent them out. I don't know if you had time to read them.
Yeah.
I did make a suggestion that from now on, I think it's very hard to capture Eric and Nathan's reports, and that we just maybe attach to the meeting agenda the slides that they use and a briefer description. I think that that would be easier for the public to follow along too. So do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I so move.
Okay,
Second.
great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's accept the minutes. And I think we were just joined. Your name is not on the screen, so I'm assuming it's Ray.
It's Bill Becker.
Oh, Bill Becker. Oh, Ray's over there. Yeah. Okay, Bill Becker, there we go. Okay, and staff reports. That would be Eric and Nathan, you're up.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see if I can do this. John, is that the easiest to show slides? Just share a screen and run the slideshow?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. let's see. So we have a very unique situation this fall. It's kind of changed our schedules for construction and bond implementation a little bit, but we are trying to take advantage of it as much as we can. As unfortunate it is for students not to be in class in the fall, we have decided to accelerate some of the projects that we can start, such as seismic retrofit at Westmont, which is actually 8 wings that were supposed to be completed throughout about 4 different summers. We're trying to do them all now in the fall so that we can accelerate that site and not have to bring in expensive interim housing. At Del Mar, we're also doing the same, but for 4 wings of classrooms. And then we also want to demolish some big buildings on our campuses to make way for new projects, specifically Del Mar Admin and the Prospect Cafeteria or Student Union, which I'll show some pictures of later. We want to take advantage of having no students and demolishing those buildings to reduce the impact to students when they do return. We can also get done a lot of accessibility upgrades that were a part of our seismic program. So that's replacing concrete and making all our thresholds at our doors accessible, which would otherwise be disruptive to students and teachers because they wouldn't be able to get into their classrooms. So we can reduce the number of summers that would take us and do it now in the fall. As well as some other asphalt repair and other projects that again would have, electrical infrastructure shut-offs that would have been disruptive to students and teachers during school. So although we are jumbling things around a little bit, I think it is definitely for the better. And we will push forward as fast as we can to get these projects done this fall. Here are a couple projects that we are finishing up now or working on. Eric, why don't you run through some of these construction ones and then I'll get the design ones at the end.
Absolutely. So this is a new ramp that we installed at Westmont along the between the PAC building and the science building. This is an ADA walkway to have access from the busing up onto the main campus. And so this is a much better ramp than we had in the past, and it's code compliant as of today. So next slide. Here's another picture of it from like the busing area. We also installed this other seating area outside here. A lot of students like to sit there and wait for their ride. And so we have that set up there. Next slide. Here's, you can see the back side of it. So down the left is where the people come up, you walk around, and you walk into the campus that direction for EDA accessible. This project here is Westmont softball dugouts. This is the last of the 5 softball dugout projects. The other 4 schools are already done. Westmont, we removed the field from one location to another as a non-DSA project. Now this is the DSA portion of that, which is just the 2 dugouts and the 35-foot fence that goes behind the dugout, or behind the baseball field. This is the Prospect swimming pool. This is our last pool to be complete. Right now, this picture is a few weeks old. We actually have rebar down in the dirt area around the perimeter, and they're putting in slot drains right now. But this is a pool that we designed where it has 4 lanes of shallow water, and then it goes down to the deep 7 and then down to the 12. And then you still play water polo. The length of the pool, that little area between the 2 islands will be where the net would be. So that way the goalie can't touch the ground there. So that's the design of this one. And when we went through the design of all the sites, that was kind of a request from that site. Here's Lee's pool. We're about 95% on this. They're putting the deck equipment on this week, and the water's in, it's stabilized, and we're working on moving forward. So this is Lee's pool, about ready to go for students. This is the EV card charging stations that we have at Westmont. And so this is down by the tennis courts. You can see how we have the charging stations, either they're attached to the columns of the solar structures, or they have these podiums to put them all in the same place. And so this is the position at Westmont, and they are already energized at Westmont right now. This is the Del Mar electrical infrastructure. So because we're adding new buildings to this site, This is a project that Nathan and I felt was overpriced.
Get that, Dave?
During this project for building new admin library, it was included to do the electrical infrastructure. We pulled that scope away from that contractor because they had a price of about $1.2 million on that. We went out to bid ourselves and we got a price for about $650,000. So we saved about $500,000 on this project alone, just because Nathan and I felt that it was too high and it was more work for us to go out to rebid it and everything, but we did. This is moving along well. PG&E now will be installing 2 more little concrete slabs here in this picture on the right and doing their work, and hopefully they'll wrap that up in the next month. So now Delmar will have enough electricity for all the new buildings. And there used to be an old electrical infrastructure in the middle of the campus that will be demolished, and it'll be an area for students and admin to walk through there. So this project's almost complete. It's going very well. This is the Delmar interim housing. This was the old student services building. We have new desks brought in there, and you be able to walk through the main entrance here to get to it down the little hallway and come onto campus through the gates. So it's a secure campus still. Once we have kids back, there's still one point of entrance to the front, so the students can come on and parents can come on in a safe area. This is the accessibility upgrades Nathan was talking about. On the left-hand side here, this is the demolishing, taking out the concrete that's cracked and that the thresholds of the door, the bottom of the door, is not level, and they're about 5/8 inch off to an inch. It's got to be removed and replaced. This is part of the seismic upgrades for this campus. And once again, rather than having the contractors do all the work on the inside and then come out to finish it, we tried to expedite it because there's no students on site. And so we went ahead and did all the ADA right now. We're removing all the concrete that needs to be done. And then the contractors that come on to fix the insides are already done with that portion. It's all one set of drawings from DSA. And so on the left-hand side, it's been demolished. On the right-hand side, it's the new concrete.
So this project is at Prospect High School. So this is where we were going to put a 2-story building, but we had to cancel that project, and we're now doing 2 wings of 1-story buildings over here. This is near the kind of near the bowl and the stadium, in between the main campus and the stadium. Just to kind of show, without going into a lot of detail, that when we put in these 2 1-story wings at the north and south side, there's going to be quite a lot of landscape in here, and we're really giving these projects a lot of attention to the spaces in between and how students access them, as well as giving them some nice outdoor environments for gathering, learning. Particularly the south building has science classrooms in it, so it gives them some space to do their labs. And in the north building at the top, there's actually a maker space, which is sort of like an engineering lab, and they'll have a lot of spaces with a big roll-up door so they could run their robots or do any other experiments that they want in this area too. This is a preliminary rendering of what these science classrooms will look like. So they will somewhat mimic the design of the student union with a little bit different materiality on the walls and really high ceilings. The highest point of that science classroom is probably about 19-foot ceilings, and the standard classroom will be about 11'6". So much higher than a typical classroom building, I guess, unless you had a pitched roof. But in the classrooms are a little bit more of a square shape, which will be, I think, really good for the teachers. We've gotten a lot of good feedback on a more square shape than a rectangle shape. It helps with group activities and group learning, which I know a lot of teachers are interested in. This is the front wing, the north wing, with the maker space on the right-hand side with a roll-up door. And we're utilizing a different roof structure in this project. You can see in the upper left that it's actually a bunch of laminated 2x4s, but boards that are all laminated together, and they provide the roof structure, and they're actually also the finished material of the ceiling. So it'll be a unique classroom where you have this warm, nice wood ceiling in there. And we're going to move all the utilities and ductwork and stuff to the sides. So it'll be a very unique feeling for a classroom that we don't have anywhere else in the district. So we're excited to use new materials and kind of push the classroom environment further, a little bit out of the traditional boxy kind of predictable classroom. This is the student union that is going also at Prospect on the other side of the campus. That one of our goals is to demolish the existing building this fall. This will be bidding soon. This will be our biggest single building, both in dollar value and size for this bond. So we're really excited to get this one started. It's almost DSA approved. It's very close in the final stages. And this will be a big project for us. So we are very excited to start that. Demolition starting in December, and the project will probably be about 1.5 years long. So it'll be a long one for us. This is the Del Mar High School. This is the admin building, actually just a portion of the admin building. There'll also be a library remodel being done at Del Mar. This building, the existing admin building where this new one's gonna sit, is being abated right now, and demolition will occur later in October. So this is the reason that we had to do the interim admin that Eric showed you and explained to you. So again, we're getting excited because some of these bigger projects that have more design, and we've been designing for years now, are finally coming to fruition. We're getting DSA approval, we're demolishing buildings, we're getting ready to build these more iconic buildings for the bond. So we are excited to move forward, take advantage of this rare opportunity in the fall, construction-wise, and really look forward to starting these more landmark projects for us in the spring. And that was what we have. Anyone have any questions?
Barry, you have a question?
Not a question, but a comment. I would appreciate if the committee would share with your neighbors. I've had the fortunate privilege to work with these two gentlemen in another district. And in July, when we began to realize that school may not open, they came to me and said, you know, we need to relook at what we're doing as far as the time schedule. They realized a couple things. One, we don't have to spend money on interim housing, which in a sense is kind of a waste of money. You have to put them someplace and then you lose that money for projects, and they recognize that. The second thing they recognized is the bidding environment. A year ago, we were getting bids, if we were lucky, 1 or 2, 3 bidders, and we also were at or above architect estimates. We're starting to get 12 bidders or more for a project, and we're at estimate or below. And these gentlemen need a lot of credit for not saying, well, we're going to sit on our laurels. Everybody's doing something different. It may not be doing as much as they were doing. These gentlemen have begun to actually do more because they realize this period of time, this fall and next spring, they can get projects done quicker and reallocate community resources to another project, or there will be a time when cost escalation starts up again. We will have money to complete the rest of the plan. So I really think they've gone over and above.
Yeah, Nathan and Eric, I think you guys have done a fantastic job pivoting and having the big picture in mind. Really, really appreciate it. It's so nice to see so many people coming out to bid on those projects. Because I know you had a lot of projects that you rejected all of the bids, right? And then had to, all right, we'll try again in another month. So that's definitely forward progress.
Yeah, like Barry said, you know, we usually have 6 to 10 people do a job walk that are interested. By the time you get a bid, you hope to get 3 or 4 good bids in. And then sometimes they're over budget and it didn't make sense. So we had rejected some in the past, had to go out to rebid, hopefully get them better. We had bids last week for Westmont and for Del Mar, and there was 25 people at the job walks. And then
Wow.
you know, that's a lot of people. And it's crazy because we're all wearing masks. We're all 6, 8 feet apart. The whole parking lot's full of people. But then it's even more crazy is that we had them every hour, every half hour, so we could separate them. So, and we'd have 9 to 10 people standing here turning in bids every half hour. And all of our pricing is under, it's under our budget, which is great. And yeah, we're getting great pricing and a lot of people want to work and things are going well.
We also get more quality contractors. When you only have 1 or 2 bidders, you have a tendency to get that contractor that's going to give you a low bid and then drive Eric and Nathan nuts with change orders.
Right.
So the project comes in at 130% of what the project was. We are getting much more quality of contractors because they're very professional and they want the work.
Does anybody have any questions for Eric or Nathan? Okay, thank you so much. That's fantastic. So are you two okay with us just putting your presentation with our minutes from now on?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, great.
Who should do you want me to send it to you?
To myself and to Connie.
Okay, will do.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, now our favorite part, key analytics. Patty, you are up.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and hopefully have permission to share screen. Yep. So everyone, and just let me know how many hard copies you guys would like, and I'd be happy to get those all sent off to you. I can send them to the district, to Connie, and then however you guys want to distribute. Just let me know how many copies, Connie, to send.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll ask everybody. Mhm.
Yeah, I think we've done about, 15. So-
About, yeah.
All right, so this report, you're familiar with the format. This just recaps on page 2, the bond. So the $275 million bond from 2016 was issued in the 2 series, 78 million and 17. And then the balance, the 197 million, was in 2018. So that is how the bonds were issued. Interest income to date is substantial. It's almost 7.5 million. So the total project funds the district currently has is 282,495,327. The district at this time of going to print, if you will, electronically, was still making some final adjustments for their year-end closing because the reports are not due to the state until September 15th. So this is preliminary closing, and if there are any other final journal entries or anything the district makes at this point, we will make sure we're going to update that and bring any changes at the next meeting with the final numbers. So we have project expenditures as of June 30th with the preliminary closing of 146.2 million. We have additional encumbrances, and those are the POs and contracts the district has entered into, $761,840. Total commitments is almost 147 million. And then the budgets remaining for the current projects is 132,636,000. So that recaps the total budgets that we currently have with the board approved amount of $279.6 million. So we have unallocated funds remaining of $2,897,016. So that just recaps our total $282,495,327 back to our total project funds, what's been currently assigned to project budgets, and the unallocated funds at this point. All right, and then we have lots of detail behind it. The first report we give you is that same breakdown of the numbers, but we give it to you by location. So here you'll see, again, by each of the location, what's been budgeted. That's that 279, 598, 312. The encumbered amounts is the total of, and this is cumulative since the inception of the bond, up through this June 30th period. So there's 146.9 million encumbered. That's the POs, contracts. The disbursements, those are the checks that have been cut out the door. We have 146.2 million. And then the budget remaining takes the budgeted column minus encumbrances, gets to budget remaining. And then the encumbered balance takes the encumbrances less what's been dispersed to give us an encumbered balance. And a lot of times during this year-end closing period, the district is closing out some POs and then they're going to roll some to the new year. So the most important thing this time of year is really the having good budgets, and then the budget remaining column is really the most important as the district is converting into finalizing one year and moving into the next year. As a former CBO, this is never a fun time for the district because there is a lot of things in flux. I'm trying to end one year and continue on in the new year. So then starting behind page 6, over on page 7, we give you the same information, but we break it down by cost center, or what we call the project type. All right, and so this report will show you each cost center, the same format. It just gives you, so it goes to page 9, but it gives you each project type. So that same $279.6 million just spread across each of the different cost centers. So if you wanted to see any particular cost center, and we can further break this down, take a cost center and then break it down by campus. So we have that ability to slice and dice this data any which way the committee would like to see. All right, so that takes us to page 9. And then
Can I ask a quick question? Nathan or Eric, how does it, we already have the portables on campuses, so how does that save money? Because I know it costs money to take them away and put them back. Are you assuming we're not going to need them in January? Are you able to just completely remove them from all sites?
So it's site by site is a little bit different. The biggest savings, Andrea, is Westmont. For us to do seismic at Westmont, we were bringing on 7 portables. The infrastructure alone was $400,000 or $500,000. So by not putting in 7 portables there, it was almost a $2 million savings. Okay. Now at Del Mar, we needed those 4 portables so we can continue seismic. At Prospect, we needed 5 portables, which we have 2 on site. So we are just moving those to a different location because the 2 that we have on site is 5253, which is right behind the cafeteria. And we're knocking that building down, so it's going to be in the way.
Right.
So we're putting all 5 of those down by the weight room.
Okay.
So we'll have, because there's 5 classrooms currently in that building. And so we're moving those classrooms outside so we can knock down that building. Once we build the 11 new classrooms on the other side of campus, we're growing our classroom count.
Okay, so it's really Westmont where the biggest savings is going to be.
Just for that, just for the portables itself, yes. Mhm.
Okay.
And right now, Brandon portables are going to be picked up in a couple weeks. So that's going to be savings too, because we because of COVID, we've already got all 5 wings that are remaining at Brandon underway, and we're going to be done by December 15th.
Oh,
So we're picking those portables up basically a year earlier. And so there's more savings there as well.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Okay, the next section of the report, we split out because there's so many projects. The district has over 400 projects. We take and we want to now show you what is still open at this point. And open for this purpose is that the construction work might be done on some of these projects, but there might be still some lingering bills coming in or invoices. And so you might see something that you might think, oh, I thought that was done, but not completely closed out as far as all the accounting part of it. Let me back down. So this goes through page 11, and this is now at the detailed level for all open projects. So you'll see is the first field over here, the 3-digit code is the site location. And then the second field is the cost center. So that's the project type. And you'll see it for each and every campus. Okay. So this gives you the detailed of all the open projects that are left. So of the original budget, here's the budget changes to date and the budget total. So again, we get the same information with the encumbrances, what's actually dispersed. Those are the checks out the door, the budget's remaining, and that encumbered balance is what's left at this point as of the June 30th preliminary closing. So that takes you to page 15. Any questions on that report?
Patty, would it be reasonable to say that we've spent and completed projects for about half of the original bond to date as a general statement?
As far as checks cut, Yeah, it's, I mean, we have, you know, $121 million has been paid out. These are the open projects. So if we go back, Barry, up to, I'm just going to flip back up. Sorry not to make anyone dizzy. But when we look at our total, yeah, so of the 207, almost $280 million, the district has paid out the 146. So yes, that's exactly what is happening. So the district has a very aggressive bond program, and it's really nice to see the work that's being done and the great improvements that are being done across the district at all the sites.
And I think the message, go ahead, Andrea.
I think Jack had his hands up.
I did.
Yeah, Jack?
On the closed projects, in February, on page 59, it has a closed project of the Del Mar electrical assessment. In this report, you also have it closed, but the encumbrance in both cases are different.
Yeah, what happens is, because honestly, this, what was encumbered initially, by the time they get to closing out these projects, that may change. There may be an increase for a given reason or a decrease for a given reason, and probably Eric or Nathan, knowing the projects, would be able to answer if that actually occurred. We do have an encumbrance report that we could pull up any particular project and see if there were change orders. But most likely what's happening with some of these projects is when they got to the end of the year, they determined that the project was finished and they may close out any remaining encumbrances.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So the next section, beginning on page 16, is the same report, but it's for the closed projects. And you can see there's a lot of work that's already been completed. So all of these projects are done. There's no budget remaining and no encumbered balance. And once in a while, there'll be some lingering bill that just, they may have had to have some item fixed or something that once in a while, you may see one that was closed and then suddenly it popped back on because there was some lingering bill that didn't get paid. But for the most part, the district does an amazing job really on their accounting and keeping everything in check. For my part of it, as I'm working with the district, we upload from the district's files and then make adjustments. They do a good job with their master budget. And I appreciate, because I don't get this from every district, good master budget. So I really appreciate working with the whole team and getting that information to me. But they're good about, that's why we've been able to show you. Originally, we have always had this ability, but we weren't showing you what the budget change was. And I think it was a request either of a board member or maybe a committee member is, well, what was the original budget? And so the original budget, there was 26.5 million. And you'll see down here, we were able to reduce the total budgets down by 1,755,052. So the total budgets for the closed projects to date is the $24.7 million. So it's really nice to work with this district because they do have a really successful program and the team really is on top of things. And I appreciate getting that data because it's a very large program. And so you're constantly kind of adjusting things as they go through the bidding process and, getting all the contracts signed and then just, all that's involved in getting the contracts done, the POs done, getting the bills paid. So it's been a real pleasure working with this whole team. I really do appreciate it. So the next section we take is we look at, okay, what is for the open projects? Here is an encumbrance summary report. So we do is for each and every project, you're going to see a summary by vendor and kind of what work has been done, the description of the type of work. So this is an overall catch-all bond implementation program. This is typically the bond support costs. And so you'll see a lot of things that were either done for district-wide purposes or that is some of the planning or what we call bond support costs. So this goes
Yeah.
down. You can see this is, oh, I'm sorry. Is there a question? I thought there was a question. Okay. Stop me if there's a question. But this is 49 pages. So each project does have this summary, and we have it for the closed projects also. But you can see for any particular project, a summary of by vendor and what the type of expenditures were possibly they were doing. Is there a question? I thought there's a question. Sounds like someone's cutting out. Is that the person on the phone?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. I'll continue unless somebody wants to stop me and has a question. So without making you dizzy and scrolling through this, this goes down 49 pages. I'm going to move my little camera this side so I can just grab the scroll bar. Okay, so I'm going to go down to page 49. Oops. So you can see of the open projects, here's the total encumbrances, the expenditures or the payments that have been made out the door, and then the encumbered balance. And that's what is sitting there as of the year-end closing, preliminary year-end closing. All right, so the next section, we do the same thing for all the closed projects. And this report, you'll see there's 12 pages of closed projects. So there's still a lot of very active work being done. But you can see for any of the closed projects, that's the same information. We give you a summary by vendor and the type of work that was being done. So if you look at like the Delmar Building C, here's all the vendors, here's the encumbrances, the expenditures, and there shouldn't be on any closed projects any remaining encumbered balances. So this is 12 pages. So I'm just going to scroll down. So you can see that's the $24.7 million of encumbered projects that have been completed at this point, closed. So that takes us to page 81. Then we also give you, in kind of the state expenditure format, the expenditure summary for each, the open and the closed projects. And this goes back from the inception. It's cumulative from February 7th when the bonds were sold and the money hit the district's account. So this takes us up, and it's in the format you'll see of, what we call the ABC categories, A being site, B being planning, C being construction. And then going across horizontally, we have the subcategories. And I know this is very small print. I'll see if I can make it a little bit bigger for you. So like under the construction categories, there's main construction. You'll see construction management, demolition, other construction, interim housing, inspection, construction test, furniture, planning. You'll see going here, the architect fees, DSA fees, CDE fees, energy analysis, preliminary tests, and other planning costs. So this report is 37 pages for the open projects. All right, so this report shows the checks that have all been cut. So they're out the door, payments made. All right, so this takes us down to page 119. And here is the grand total, the $21.4 million that have been paid out to date on projects that are still open at this point. Any questions on that report? Okay, I give you the same information for the closed projects. So here is the same information, and you'll see for each of the closed projects, the same information. So you will see the site planning construction categories under site. Typically, if the district isn't purchasing property that I'm aware of, at least not on the projects I've seen here, but the site costs would include like appraisal, escrow, surveying, site support costs, other POE, SSAPEA costs, DTSC fees, hazardous waste, other site costs. So these projects are all the closed projects, and this is 17 pages. So let me get on down. All right, so here is the $24.7 million of payments that have been made for all the closed projects. So this, if you're in the state program, this is the report that gets attached. They call this the detailed listing of project expenditures. This is at a summary level, but we would have, we could burn a lot of paper for, at the detailed level, but the district is fully transparent with the committee and the community. And if there's any report in particular they'd like to see a detailed project listing, we certainly can provide that. And you can make that request probably through Andrea to Connie or to Eric or Nathan. And I'm happy to be able to quickly produce that report for you. It's all in our system and makes it very easy for us to be able to slice and dice that information at detail or summary level, whatever way the committee prefers.
Okay, I have a question. Why would it have adult ed swimming pool alterations? Isn't that Prospects swimming pool?
Probably what happened there, Andrea, there may have been something charged and got reversed out, or budget got set, you know what I mean? It was probably maybe something could have gotten charged and then realized it needed to be reversed and they did it. It shows up here because there's a transaction somewhere.
Okay.
It's all zeros, you can see.
Yes. That's
Okay.
just a confusing title for me because we don't have, Eric, isn't that right? There's no adult ed swimming pool. It would be, oh, Del Mar's, I guess, right?
Correct.
I think it's the location is 110. So right currently, I think that's assigned to adult ed. That's why it shows up that way. So again, it's the 3-digit code is the location code or the site code, and then followed by the 6-digit cost center, which is the project type. All right. And that concludes my report. So a lot of information for such a large program. It's nice that we give you these reports that are hopefully more easily digestible by splitting it out between what's done, overdone, and then letting you focus on the stuff that's currently active.
Does anybody have any questions for Patty?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment more, Andrea.
Sure.
So as you can see with Patty's numbers and how the whole keeping everything intact with every dollar and every cent, Nathan and I always look at the contracts as well. And last year, so our contracts, we worked 260 days for the school. And we did 438 contracts last year in 260 days. So it shows how many contracts go out daily, every day, just to make these projects go as they've gone. And so Patty's program helps keep all that together, but we also have to keep all the contracts together. So it works hand in hand. But yeah, the facilities team did 438 contracts last year in 260 work days.
That's amazing.
Pretty crazy.
And I'll tell you, we're moving. We just launched our new Keystone reporting platform. That this system has always worked well for us, but we have now come, into the new century, and we have updated with all kinds of new bells and whistles, new reporting formats, being able to quickly take reports. I know Nathan in particular is going to love the features. We're migrating districts over. We're kind of waiting as districts are finalizing their year-end closing to move them over. But there's a lot of exciting things and some new reports that'll be really helpful to the district. So I'm excited to be at this point. We kind of had to pause things because of COVID, and districts were just scrambling to kind of readjust to their new normal. But yeah, there's some new fun things that are coming that I'm excited with, even charts and graphs and different things that we've got. So we're excited about where we're headed with our new platform.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, thanks, Patty. So I think you can, let's go back.
I think Barry had a question. He has his hand up, Andrea.
Oh, I can't see everybody.
It was more of a comment. I think one of the things that definitely your management team, Eric and Nathan, are in the top 10%. And I do a lot of construction work for school districts around the state. But the thing that I would like to point out is Eric has a unique ability to look at a project, which sometimes can go to a general contractor. And when you do a general contractor, the general contractor gets the sub. and the general contractor gets paid for getting that sub. Eric has a unique ability to look at the project, and he shared one with you at Del Mar, where, wait a minute, if we do our electrical ourselves, take that out of the scope, we keep that profit in Campbell Union High School District. And I don't say that lightly. A lot of construction folks say, well, just let the general do it because it's nothing I want to worry about. So that means what Eric just talked about is that he has more contracts to manage, but that managing of the contracts equals a savings to the community, which means you get more projects.
Which is what we like to see.
Not every district can do that.
Right.
And that's the unique ability of this team. And I've seen it not only in Campbell, but I've seen it with working with them in other places. That gets you an extra 10% during the year. And that makes a difference why Campbell's a little better.
Thanks for that comment, Barry. We really appreciate their services. Okay, Patty, I think you can stop screen sharing
Okay.
then. Okay, so what I would like, well,
For me, Andrea, I'm gonna say goodbye. I have the good thing about Zoom is I have a meeting with Napa next, and I couldn't be physically in 2 places, so it has worked well for me with Zoom to be able to attend more meetings. So I do appreciate it. It's nice seeing all of you, and stay safe. And Jack, I hope you feel better soon.
yes.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye. Since this is a different format, I just would like a confirmation that everybody received the electronic copy and that you can go through it at your own pace. Can I get an affirmative from everybody? Got an electronic copy?
Affirmative,
Affirmative.
affirmative.
Sarah, yes. Okay, and we'll have Connie put out a poll and to see if you want a paper copy. I personally want a paper copy because it's easier for me when I'm checking it against the previous report to have the paper in front of me. Maybe someday I'll get there to all electronic, but I'm not there now. Okay, so our next meeting, I'm assuming is going to be over Zoom, and it'll be November 11th. Jack, we're so sorry to see you go. How many years have you been on parcel tax or bond committees?
Since 2007, I think.
That's a long time. Yeah, we're really going to miss your service. So I'm assuming you don't want to come to the November meeting. This will be your last, or?
Thank you.
Thank you so
been-
much.
it's been
Thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you.
I'll miss you.
Yeah, we're going to miss you too. Please let us know how you're feeling.
I will.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other comments? Yep, Barry.
2 points of information that I'd like to share with the committee.
Oh, great.
That they would be interested in. One is that beginning September 28th, April Dizon from the Alameda Unified School District will be your new CBO. I've been the interim for the last 90 days, and I will still be with the district doing some projects, one of which is helping mentor and coach with April. And the other part is trying to make a very smooth transition by some of the projects we have ongoing, like what's going on at the district office, what I'm going to talk about in a minute, a bond refinance. I will be continuing those so this person can start with new things, and there's plenty of new things to deal with and not have to keep going back and forth. The second, and one of our former CBOs, Ron, who's on the committee now, will recognize this. In his day of serving the district, there were other bonds that he was very involved with back then. And one of the things that you have to do as an assistant superintendent is watch the interest rate for the community, because bonds are sold at a point in time, very much like your home mortgage. And if you got your home mortgage 10 years ago, between 2010 and 2020, you likely should have refinanced because rates have come really down. And last year, very competent CBO and Nancy Pfeiffer refinanced some rates. What did that do? That saved the community and the taxpayers millions of dollars in interest, Because when you have $275 million worth of a bond out there, 0.25% to 0.5% makes a big deal in what the community saves. So looking at it again this year, while I've been in the chair, I found that we could refinance some bonds from 13, 14, and 15, 2013, 14, and 15, which are not part of the bond that you're currently looking at, and save the community $2 million. So that will be on the board's action for next Thursday night, a week from tomorrow, to take action to refinance those bonds. Now, that's not a tremendous savings, I'll be the first to say it. For the individual household, it's not going to get you a trip to a restaurant, particularly with your family. But overall, it's the right thing to do. Currently now, interest rates are below 0.5% on the market. So even with the margin, some of the interest rates we had were 4% and 5%. We're just showing prudence. And we hope that'll have some effect on our parcel tax with the community coming up in November, that we do manage the money in Campbell down to the last little bit. So those two items, new person coming on board, September 28th, April Dazan, and we're very excited about that. And we did save some money on a bond from yesteryear that at least one person on this committee was involved with.
Thank you very much, Barry. We're looking forward to meeting April and seeing a seamless, I know with Eric and Nathan on board, that the bond will still be managed very well and on schedule. Were you waving
our
your
goal.
hand there, Eric? Okay, any other comments? Okay, so please feel free to take the month and look over the electronic version of the book that Patty gave us. If you have any questions or you want to flag anything and want more details, email myself and Connie and we'll get that information out to you. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Thanks, Barry. Thank you very much. Good to see you, Jack.
Okay.
Mr. Dyer, Ray,
Bye.
take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hello, Ray.